Hey everyone, we're going to go over the Bona sand and finish commandments as they relate to water-based finishes. And the thing to remember is all of the commandments are going to come into play here. Really it comes into play with sealers, finishes, and not just water-based finishes and sealers, any kind of finish and sealer you're dealing with, because these are our money products, right? This is why we did the floor up to this point. The way those sealers and finishes look on the floor is usually what your homeowner, floor owner is going to judge you on. So you'll quickly see that all of them come into play, and it's always a good idea to go back and go through your sheet. That's why we made it printable for you with your crews before you guys start on sealers, finishes, etc. First is expectations, right? Definitely expectations come into play. One, what do you expect from the homeowner and your guys as far as the point we're at in this job, staying off the floor, keeping everything clean? But also sheen level could come into play for expectations. You know, we hear a lot, well, it's still not shiny enough, or it's too shiny, I want it flatter. So that could then affect things right between coats. We've pretty much addressed most of the species things up to this point, but if you have something really dark, really light with a dense grain pattern, floor to ceiling windows, and it's just gonna show everything, you want to kind of remind your guys of that, and you know, what are the special workarounds you may have to have for those situations. Or if you have a real open species that is still going to be tending to suck a lot of the finish and stuff down into it, right, how are we going to deal with that? The next one's with environment, so temperature, relative humidity, dew point, airflow. Those are going to be some of the biggest keys that we talk about and that are going to affect the job, because do we have access to the HVAC controls? How do we control temperature, humidity, airflow? Can we shut off our airflow? Can we turn it back on when we need it? Do we need to add some extra airflow to help that dry and cure time in between coats? So those two, environment and airflow, are really going to play into our finishes discussion. Read the directions, right? If this is a product you haven't used before, or maybe it's the second time, make sure you go through, read the directions. There may be some particular things on properly mixing the product, certain applicators that we'd recommend, maybe even a certain process to putting it down, or if you're going to put it down in some special conditions, right, we may have some guidelines there. But again, just go back, read the directions, especially if it's a brand new product. Floor prep. Now, we may be done with that, right, and that's one of the biggest keys up to this point. However, we may be dealing with some stuff between coats, right? That's all going to be floor prep as well. If we need to smooth some things back out, if we need to do a few spot repairs here and there. So floor prep is going to continue to play into our job the whole way through until that last coat goes down, dries, and cures out. Feather, feather, feather. Of course, that's one of the main reasons why we have that commandment in here. Treating everything and being as neat as we can. Now is not the time to take shortcuts and, you know, hope things flow out accidentally or on purpose. You see a puddle or drips or whatever, or you see your guy make a turn across the grain. Go ahead and feather that stuff out, right? Let's not take a chance that we're going to have to come back and do some spot repair. Keeping it clean. You know, really critical at this point. Hopefully we've done a great job throughout up to this point also to make sure we've kept the floor clean, the air clean, ourselves clean. If you need to, go outside, take a compressor, blow yourself off, blow your helper off, but make sure you're clean, shoes, pants, hair. That may be one other thing. If you've got, you know, long hair, or you're follically challenged like myself, or you've got hairy arms, hairy legs, you may want to wear pants, you may want to wear a long shirt, you may want to wear a hairnet. But we want to keep hair and stuff out of the finish as well. That's part of keeping it clean. Then we run over to application rate and tools. And just remember here that one coat of finish, you know, most finishes, some go on a little thicker, some a little thinner. But if we can think of every coat of finish being as thick as a piece of copy paper, that's just not, you know, that's not very thick. Not a lot of protection from a thickness point of view. So use the right application rate. Calculate what you're getting. I know it may change between every coat, right? It's going to be hard to get 450 feet out of a gallon on that last coat when everything's really slicked up. But also make sure you're using the right tool. Make sure you're using fingertip pressure. Don't try to put it down too thin because we don't want it any thinner than a piece of copy paper, right? That just takes away too much of our protection and may leave the floor looking a little bit thirsty. As we said, mix the product, right? Get those defoamers, leveling agents, color, anything else, flatting paste, get that all mixed up really well. So take time to properly mix your product, every single gallon all the way through, and then strain your finish. Again, be a professional. We don't want to take the chance, especially if this is a 2,000 square foot Brazilian cherry herringbone, right, that we're going to have some particles come out of the jug. So go ahead, work the pantyhose in or work the regular paint straining material in, but fine strain your finish so that we don't have any particles coming out. And then of course, floor care, right? Don't do a beautiful job of putting the finish and stuff down, but then just leave it up to the homeowner to go to a big box store, the grocery store, find any one of a myriad of products there on the shelf to take care of their floor. You want to really show them, educate them how to take care of the investment that they just made with you, as well as any of the other products that they may use to clean their house and what those may do to the floor. So countertop cleaners, appliance cleaners, furniture polishes, right? Have those discussions with them, make them a better customer, make them a better homeowner and a better floor owner. So there they are, expectations, species, environment, airflow, read the directions, floor prep, feather, 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 keep it clean, application rate and tool, mix your product, strain your finish, and floor care. All 12 of the Bona commandments go into Waterborne finishes.